Have you ever wondered what might happen if Earth lost its oxygen for just 1 hour? Now that's a thought to ponder. Oxygen is a silent yet vital player in our everyday lives. It's the invisible life force that fills our lungs with every breath, fueling our bodies, powering our muscles, and sparking our brains into action. In the grand scheme of things, oxygen plays an integral role in the Earth's atmosphere. It makes up about 21% of the air we breathe. It's a key ingredient in the ozone layer, protecting us from the sun's harmful ultraviolet rays. But oxygen isn't just about us, humans. It's crucial for all animal life on Earth, sustaining the respiration process, driving the rhythm of life. And let's not forget, it's oxygen that allows fire to burn, supporting combustion, an essential process in our modern world. So, let's consider this. If oxygen vanished for an hour, the consequences would be dire. First, consider the impact on humans and animals. Oxygen, that life-giving gas, fills our lungs, fuels our cells, and keeps our brains sharp and functional. Now imagine if all that was taken away, even for just an hour. Let's start with the immediate effects. Without oxygen, humans and animals would lose consciousness after just a few breaths. That's because our brains rely on a steady supply of oxygen to function. Cut off the supply and our brain cells start to die off. This can happen in as little as 4 to 6 minutes. Our lungs, those incredible organs that work tirelessly to extract oxygen from the air, would also be in dire straits. They'd collapse without the ambient oxygen they're designed to process. Essentially, they'd be like deflated balloons, unable to spring back into action. But it's not just about what's happening inside our bodies. The world around us would also change dramatically. Any fires or combustion processes would extinguish immediately. Without oxygen, there's no fuel for the fire. So campfires, candles, gas stoves, and even car engines would abruptly stop. Now let's talk about the longer-term effects. Even if the oxygen were to return after that 1-hour mark, the damage would already be done. Oxygen deprivation, even for a short time, can lead to serious brain damage or even death. In animals, the effects would be similar. Wildlife, pets, birds in the sky, fish in the sea, all would suffer the same fate. Oxygen is as vital to them as it is to us. Just think about it. An hour doesn't seem like a long time. You might spend it watching an episode of your favorite show or taking a leisurely walk. But without oxygen, that hour becomes a death sentence for most living creatures. In essence, the absence of oxygen, even briefly, would be catastrophic for life as we know it. The world without oxygen, even for a mere 60 minutes, becomes a world of silence, darkness, and stillness. A world where life, as we know it, ceases to exist. But what about our environment, you might ask? Well, let's dive into that. First, let's talk about the Earth's crust. Oxygen is a key element in many of the minerals that make up the Earth's crust. Without it, these minerals would break down. The crust would crumble, leading to immense landslides and potentially catastrophic seismic activity. The very ground beneath our feet would become unstable in a world without oxygen. Now, let's consider the ozone layer. This protective shield is composed of 3 oxygen atoms. It's a crucial part of our planet's defenses, blocking the majority of the sun's harmful ultraviolet radiation. Without oxygen, this layer would vanish. As you can imagine, this would have dire consequences. An increased amount of radiation would reach the Earth's surface, leading to a surge in radiation-related illnesses and diseases. Our natural sunscreen would be gone. The absence of oxygen would also have a significant impact on our climate. You see, oxygen plays a vital role in trapping heat in our atmosphere, contributing to the greenhouse effect that keeps our planet warm. Without it, the Earth's temperature could plummet drastically. We could be facing a deep freeze, with temperatures so low they're unimaginable. And let's not forget about our oceans. They rely on oxygen to support marine life and balance ecosystems. Without it, the water would become stagnant, lifeless. The once vibrant underwater world would be nothing but a barren, silent landscape. In short, without oxygen, our environment would undergo dramatic changes. The Earth's crust would become unstable, our protective ozone layer would disappear, our climate would cool significantly, and our oceans would turn into lifeless bodies of water. Our world as we know it would be irrevocably altered. The environment as we know it would be unrecognizable. And when the hour ends, picture this. Oxygen rushes back into the world, flooding into every nook and cranny. But the return of oxygen isn't the sigh of relief we might expect. The sudden influx of such an oxygen-rich environment could potentially trigger fires. Remember, fires need oxygen to burn, and with the sudden rush of it, even a tiny spark could set off a massive blaze. As for the survivors, the long-term impacts would be severe. Imagine the psychological trauma of having lived through an hour without oxygen, the struggle to breathe, the terror. The physical harm from oxygen deprivation might take a while to heal as well, with potential brain damage and other health problems. The environment too would bear the scars of this event. With fires possibly raging, ecosystems could be devastated and recovery might take years, if not decades. The world post-oxygen would be a vastly different and potentially more dangerous place. So, what have we learned from this hypothetical scenario? We've journeyed through a thought experiment that paints a stark picture of a world without oxygen, even if just for an hour. We've seen that oxygen plays a vital role in our lives, and it's not just about breathing. Our discussion began with the importance of oxygen for humans and animals. We found that without it, we would lose consciousness within seconds, and life would cease in a matter of minutes. Then, we moved on to the environment. A world without oxygen would be a world without fire, without rust, and without life as we know it. Even the Earth's crust would crumble without the binding power of this essential element. Finally, we explored the aftermath, a chilling look at a world left barren and lifeless. Without oxygen, even for an hour, our world as we know it would radically change, and not for the better.
Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this video. That's all for Nifty Narration.